Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for February 6th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother Celebrity 3 live feeds. It was day 11 in the house, and with me to talk about day 11 in the house is Aman. How you doing, Aman?
Yay! Woo! Live feed update. This is my first one of the year, and also my second one in the past 2 seasons because I only did one for Big Brother 23. So it feels really good to be back talking about some Big Brother in this super expedited season. It's been pretty good so far, and so I'm happy to be back, Taran. Always a
Yes.
pleasure.
All right. Well, we're here to talk about what happened here on the feeds. I feel like it was kind of a snoozy day for me. It felt like there wasn't a lot of excitement going on. It was our first full day of feeds. The feeds are cutting a lot, which is not helping. And also, I would say more than half the house not really playing the game, so that's probably hurting as well.
I saw Chris Kattan maybe twice the entire day, and both times he was doing the exact same thing, laying in the bed. And I've seen a bunch of people express concern over Twitter about his health and his mental health. I don't really know what's going on. Maybe he's not really feeling it. Maybe he's in pain. I don't know. I wish
Well,
him
it's probably just
well if
lack
that's
of
the
sleep,
case.
right? He can't
Yeah.
sleep while during the snoring. I mean, let me. You can turn on the feeds in the clock room. You can hear the snoring.
Oh, see, I have been long sleep past that time. Like, if I wanted to subject myself to that, I would put it on the loudspeaker when I'm trying to sleep myself. So I would not be aware of any of that. But that makes a lot of sense. That would explain why he was up in Chris's bed or the other Chris's bed, his HOH bed. That would explain a lot.
If you want to really live the Chris Kattan experience, turn on the feeds at night while you're trying to sleep.
Yeah, sleep with the Swiss chocolate room. The pleasurable noises and sounds of the Swiss chocolate room.
Yes. So let's talk about it. I mean, really, pretty much every conversation of worth includes the HOH because he's one of the few people who's doing things. He started the day talking through. Now, as you know, Chris Kirkpatrick, Mr. InSync, has won the HOH, and he wants to target Mirai as a way to kind of take out a personal target, somebody that he has had drama with, as well as maintain the war between the two pairs, Todrick and Misha on one side, Carson and Cynthia on the other side, while him and Shayna get to sit in the middle, not being targeted by either side. So the goal is to take Mirai out of the game. But the question was, who does he put up next to Mirai as a pawn? And so early in the day, he talks with Todd and Lamar, and he floats out one of the ideas that he had, one of the stronger ideas that he had, which was Lamar has asked to leave the game. Why don't I just use Lamar as a pawn? And so we should discuss this. Lamar is pretty fine with leaving. In fact, when Kirk tells him about how he's like, yeah, like I might put you up on the block, Lamar was like, well, if I gotta go, I gotta go. I've done what I came to do.
I thought that this was like the second coming of the archetype that Big Brother Celebrity has found in the tall basketball player that would like to quit the game with a mere, I don't know, week and a half in. But no, he's not like Meta World Peace because we found the new archetype. He's the tall basketball player that would like to quit the game about a week and a half in who also shits the bed. So, he said he came here and accomplished what he had to accomplish. I'm gonna take his word for it. I can't even.
That deuce on the bed.
He dropped the deuce.
I'm
and
good.
Now he's
That's
out.
what I came to do.
He's out. He said, "I came here to shit on the competition," and that's exactly what I did. Okay. So, I can't even be like, look, I tweeted this like about a couple days ago. I'm not like as emotionally invested in this season because I feel like I'm just having so much fun with this cast. So, 3 years ago when this was Meta World Peace, I'd be like, oh my God, really? Are you kidding me? Like, come on, play. But now, like, because Lamar is so entertaining, I'm like, you know what? it is what it is. If he wants to go up on the block and go home, I'll be sad to see him go because we'll be missing a lot of Lamar isms. But whatever, man. I can't care more than he does. So
give the man his pancake. Give it
the pancake.
It's just insane. But all right. I mean, if that's what you want to do. And the fact that he's pretty much admitting, I mean, he said it in so many words, because I think after this conversation, he was like, yeah, like, I came here to do what I was going to do. It's either going to be a yes or a no on that front. So now the next thing to do is just to leave and see what's out there for me. And so I'm assuming he's talking about redacted Kardashian.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's pretty much admitting to just coming on the show to win her back. And I'm starting to believe the rumors that a producer may have lied to him or led him to believe that someone that was a Kardashian adjacent or Kardashian themselves would have been in the house so that he could plead his case. But alas, that was not the case.
Think about it, though. This man is going on random reality shows in the hopes that his ex-wife will be on one of them. And he'll have a chance to reunite with her.
He's like trying to enter her world again, you know? Like he's an NBA person. Then he got roped in with the Kardashians. Then he had a separate show with Khloe. And now it's been many, many years since the divorce. And he's just trying to re-enter. He's trying to say, like, look, honey, I can do this reality stuff too. Take me back. We're such a good team. I don't think it's going to work, but okay.
Well, even though Lamar is, and honestly, even though Lamar is saying, like, whatever, I came here to do what I did what I had to do, whatever. He's not meta world piecing this in the same way.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he's not, and even like he's not actively asking to be evicted as much as
during
some
a
previous
live
celebrity.
show on a competition.
He hasn't like scaled the wall yet. And when Kirkpatrick was talking about putting him up, he was kind of like, well, then what if Mirai wins the veto? Like I would be. I think it was a little more like, all right, well, then I guess I'm done. Like then it was, I actively want to be done. I think it was a little more like, I don't really understand this game, and so if I'm gonna lose, then whatever.
Yeah, it is very much like yeah, just put me up on the block, and if Mirai goes, then my time is over. As opposed to Meta, where he's actively trying to get voted out. So I did sort of appreciate that, and he, I mean, like, and he's very sociable too, and everybody likes him, which is so. It's just such an interesting thing because like this guy really doesn't care about this game. And everybody wants him to stay because even the people that he's like not on the same side with, they all still want him to stay. Like maybe that's the secret. Just act like you want to go home.
Yeah. If you go on, look, the next celebrity season, for all the celebrities watching this update, because I know there are so many of you, go into the game and just tell everyone you want to quit, like day 2. And then when you inevitably get dragged to the final 4 or whatever, or if it maybe even to the final 2, then in your final 2 speech go, it was a ploy. I knew you would drag me to the end. Of course I wanted to be here. I love this show.
I acted like I wanted my ex back and it was a whole ruse.
Screw Khloe. I don't even care. Give me the win.
Can you imagine Khloe actually shows up at the finale like, oh my God, I heard your message. He's like,
no, sorry. I'm here for Big Brother.
Nice to see you though. How you been?
So it's really Todd that's going to push back the most here, though. Todd is the closest with Lamar, and Todd is basically says to Kirkpatrick, no, don't put Lamar on the block. Don't do it. I don't want it. You shouldn't do it. And Kirkpatrick, who when Lamar was like, I guess it's my time to go, was like, no, that's not what I'm. You're not supposed to go though. Seems as though he's later going to say it is Todd that convinces him that he should not put Lamar on the block, and so that's no longer the plan.
Right. So did Todd ever say who he wanted him to put in the block if Mirai came down?
If Mirai came down, no. I mean, I think Todd would like it to be Cynthia or Carson. I mean, he said that.
Okay.
But he basically was like, don't put Lamar on the block. And I'm sure Todd also knew that the other option was Catan, and that I'm sure he
Right.
would love to get Catan on the block.
Right. Right. I mean, you might. I mean, yeah, Lamar seems to be Todd's like biggest ally right now. So of course you don't want him to go on the block, but because of the fact that everybody wants him to stay, and if you really want Chris to go, putting Lamar on the block might not actually be that bad because you're not going to vote him out. Like Todrick's not going to vote him out. Shane is not going to vote him out. Nobody's going to vote him out. So the only person that's got to go is Chris. So hey, but then again, keeping Chris around, you know, for Todd to have a target in later weeks is also pretty good. So we'll see.
Well, Kirkpatrick is also going to talk with Carson and let him know that hey, again, I don't want to put you up, but man, a lot of people are trying to get me to put you up. And so you and Cynthia, you better win this next HOH.
Yeah.
Carson's like, I didn't realize we were so popular.
Yeah, he's a rat HOH, and I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this because now he's in power. He's got some safety. He can kind of do whatever the hell he wants. He's setting up Carson and Cynthia against Todrick and Misha, and it's seemingly working. And I kind of and it's because a bit of it is the truth as well. Like they want to take Todrick out eventually. They want to get Misha out eventually, and he doesn't want to have to do it himself because then the whole betrayal thing, yada yada yada, and then exposing his game. So I get it, and it seems to be working. So him and Shayna, I'm starting to regret not choosing Chris Kirkpatrick because I almost did. I was so close, but then a certain person who shall not be named convinced me not to do it ahead of the draft, and I should have just went with my gut. But yeah, Chris is he's doing a lot. It's a little messy here and there. Like I feel like he does a little bit of the too much convincing. It's like, I'm doing this for you.
It's a bit heavy-handed, especially the like, you'd better win HOH next week because they're coming for you. At which point, eventually, like any like smart player would be like, wait, so why aren't you protecting me then? If you're really all for me, why aren't you targeting them? You're trying to play the middle. Why don't I just go to them and tell them that you're trying to play the middle, and then we can be in the middle and you can be on the other side?
And do we think that like Cynthia is wise to this? Because before she told him because he was telling her before that her name was floating around, and she was like, yeah, if you need to put me up, then do it. And he was like, well, I don't want to. And she was like, well, you don't want to disappoint your team. So it's like she knows that he's on the other side. So like she hasn't really vocalized it from what I've seen, but she has to at least think like in her mind, well, this guy is clearly playing both sides if he's coming over here and telling me what they're saying, because that's exactly what Todrick did the last cycle. So I keep wanting to say week, but they're cycles now because everything is so expedited.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how like in the game their heads are. Carson and Cynthia aren't doing much strategizing.
They were planning meals. Okay, they were planning 4-course meals yesterday. They were gonna make some cracked chicken, whatever. Actually, I looked that up. That recipe. Listen, I'm already a big fan of buffalo chicken dip, but cracked chicken or whack chicken, I might have to try it. I might buy a Instapot just to try it because it looks so good. Whew. But yeah, they're and I'm kind of surprised by Carson. Like, I don't know if this is like his version of like sort of like playing dead, because Carson's not dumb. He's obviously Ross was a wealth of information and resources to him. He has to know the game. He's like he knows what's going on. He knows everybody in the house. So I would have to imagine that he's got to be a little bit more into the game, but maybe he's just really trusting Chris Kirkpatrick, and it's like, I don't need to do much because I don't think that I'm going to be the one to go this week. So I'll worry about it next week. And he's wise to Todrick. He's wise to Misha. So it's like, all right, you have all the information. So what now?
Yeah, I mean, he said to Todrick, like, I don't need this and I'm just going to be chill.
That's baloney.
Right. Like that could be just a ploy, or like it could be real. At this point, I couldn't tell you exactly which. And I think the thing too about the celebrities, and one of the reasons why they may not play as hard is that I think that they are a little more likely to kind of take their ball and go home when things don't go their way. Like even the ones we like, like I think that if Carson was in power right now, he'd be much more into the game, having more fun. It's not the thing about, and this is something that Catan says as well later in the day. Like, I came here to have fun. This isn't fun. The game of Big Brother is only fun when you're succeeding.
Yeah, when you're winning.
When you have power, or when you're like surviving by the skin of your teeth and you're like doing some fun things. When you're just kind of like on the outs and there's very little you can do, it's not fun. And the celebrities who came who like thought that they would have some fun are not having fun. They're like, well, screw this. Let me just hang out with my friends.
And it's frustrating is because like there's a way out of this week. Like they're probably both going to stay. Hopefully they both with Carson and Cynthia. So it's like there's still game left to be played. And I really just want Carson to sort of stick it back to Todrick because listen, Todrick making the excuse a couple of days ago about how, why he turned on the alliance, and him and Carson had that whole conversation. And he was like, well, I just feel like you were sort of gravitating more towards Cynthia and the rest of that alliance, and people were coming in that I didn't want to come in. I just felt like it kind of reminded me of Drag Race. How about you, RuPaul and Michelle are kind of like a team, and RuPaul and Michelle Visage have been friends for 30 plus years. Okay, they are all in their 50s. I think RuPaul is 61. Todrick, you are 36. You are a baby to them. RuPaul is almost twice your age. Of course, the three of them are going to have a bit more of a bond, more so than you. Also, it's not your show. It is RuPaul's show. You come on, maybe you've been on maybe, I count on like maybe 2 hands the amount of episodes that you have been on in the past 14 seasons. So why would you not be a bit of like an adjacent figure on the show? And you're mega talented and you're great, and he keeps inviting you back, so obviously they like you. So this whole like, it was just so self-centered. I was like, come on, Todrick, like that's not even. And the fact that Carson really didn't even delve into that argument, he was like, all right, well, I just want you to succeed, buddy. It's like, no, like you need to like put him in his place real quick because you are his elder, okay? Like this is not no placate the child here thing. Like stick it back to him because he is doing all of this scheming because he thinks that you are as intelligent as we all know that you are. So you can give it back to him, Carson. Like I just want to see that happen. I want that war to go ahead because I feel like if I don't really like the narrative of Todrick being the one to take Carson out of the game, because then the whole Drag Race community will be just up in flames. And I'm just not here for the drama, okay? I want my Big Brother over here, and I want my Drag Race over here. And now we done melded the two, and I'm going to have to deal with the repercussions in this fandom, and it's crazy. And I just don't feel like it. So Carson, put the little boy in his place, and let's just ride off into the sunset together, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I like it. You can also tell like the level of discourse over the course of the day when the chat is spending the majority of the time talking about Kraft macaroni and cheese because it's a big part of the day.
Which is nasty. And I'm glad that Lamar was like, y'all can't make it like I like it. Like, yes, you need to Kraft mac and cheese. Like, it's one of the greatest crimes of humanity. It's disgusting.
All right. Well, Kirkpatrick is also going to talk with Misha, and he said they talk through what he wants to do for the nominations, and Misha suggests that hey, if you're going to nominate Catan, you can't tell him that he's the pawn because this is Catan we're talking about. This is he is going to blab all over the place, and then Mirai will know she's the target. Everyone will know that Catan is the pawn. So you can't tell him. And I actually felt like this was like a good thing that Misha did in that it kind of sabotaged Kirkpatrick a little bit, because of course he should tell Catan that he's the pawn, because you shouldn't blindside Catan. You shouldn't make him feel like he's your target because he's going to hold a grudge. And Mirai's going to know she's the target because you had massive drama with her not a few days ago, and you've been campaigning to take her out of the game for days. So I don't know why he listened to this advice, but he did. And he decided to put Mirai and Catan on the block.
I mean, it doesn't. From what we've seen from Mr. Catan, it doesn't really seem like. I mean, he's settled. You know, the game settled as of Catan. That's him right there. Like I think he's okay whether he's the pawn or the target right now. So yeah, I think you don't really lose much by telling him that he is the pawn, because yes, like you said, Mirai has been in your crosshairs for the past 11 days. So who really cares? And I really wish that we got to see those first couple of days, because while we have the knowledge in our heads that they had some sort of big disagreement, it still feels so just like it feels so empty. It's like, okay, I'm around the block again, like over some drama that we didn't get to see. So like, it's like, what's going on?
This is something that Todrick brings up as well. He said that the audience is not going to know. They're not going to see. So they know that we don't know. And he said that because we haven't seen anything about this drama, he's like, is there another what are they going to show? And he even brought up is this going to be a good look for you, Kirkpatrick? And it's still, I don't even know. Why is what is it that they're not showing? Teddy talked a little bit about it outside of the house. She mentioned that Mirai was crying a lot, and then there was some big revelation, which, given how she was talking to Cynthia, to me makes it seem like, again, she was potentially saying that somebody was creeping her out, but then maybe acting like she wasn't creeped out. I feel like it's a very strange situation. And I'm honestly a little skeptical of the people that are against Mirai in this spot. I feel like there's a lot of she's emotional, and that's being used to sort of discredit her. But who knows?
I mean, I think the whole it's so interesting that Todrick is the main one to sort of be wary of this. Like, oh well, they're not going to know what's going on because they didn't see it. And it's like, well, you are sort of the person that put the target on her back initially. So if there's anybody that the audience might blame, the ignorant audience might blame, it would be you, because there was all this footage of you going and telling Misha, like, oh, Mariah's playing both sides, which I still don't agree with. Like, I understand that it's a good tool to use against her. I get it. But it doesn't make much sense narratively to me, because she was in the Formation Alliance. So of course she's going to go back and tell the Formation Alliance tell Teddy that Misha was targeting her. Like, it only makes sense. So, but of course, Todrick used that against her. And honestly, Todrick is not doing himself any favors as well by sort of continuously bringing up the fact that we need to have reasons for getting rid of people of color specifically, because if you don't, then people are going to call you racist. And I'm like, well, Todrick, I don't think that the answer to that is to then manipulate and manufacture some sort of reason to get rid of a person of color because you don't want to seem racist. I think, if anything, that makes it even worse. So why don't you just let people play the game?
I think what he's trying to do there is not actually get a reason, but imply that he shouldn't be doing it in the first place because he doesn't want Mirai to go, right?
Yeah,
which is also still icky, just different motivations, icky. I think. Yeah,
you're still using it to
exactly.
And Shayna mentioned early that I think later that day that she was kind of turned off by Todrick continuously bringing that into the conversation. And so I mean, just once again, not everything is. We've had a lot of examples of racism on Big Brother and prejudice and stuff like that. Not everything is like that. So I think we should, especially when in situations when it's just strictly game, let's just leave it like that, because it makes it more enjoyable for everybody. Just a little PSA.
And then another thing to sort of try to connect the dots here, Kirkpatrick said to Todrick a little bit later in the day that there were 3 moments in the house when he was completely shocked and thought that his game was over. And there was one that happened, first, right? Then there was another one. And so there were 2 separate moments where he thought, I'm out. And so in my eyes, the first one was something to do with Mirai, perhaps calling him creepy. Then the second one was perhaps a false positive, so whatever it is that took him out of the house for a day. And And then he said the third one was when Teddy campaigned straight to Misha that Todrick was her target, and he thought that for sure Misha was going to think that he's the one that put that idea in her head. But it does again seem to imply that there was a separate incident apart from the one with him leaving the house. There were two separate things prior to that.
Right.
But again, it's so hard to know what's going on here. Kirkpatrick is going to talk to Shayna after he makes these nominations, and she vents to him about Todrick. There's a lot of anti-Todrick talk here. Not looking great for Todrick, even though his position in the game is not terrible.
Right.
It's looking like I mean, unless something changes pretty dramatically over the next couple of weeks, I don't know how he's going to win a jury vote at this point. There's not a lot of big fans of Todrick. I mean, unless Carson is like such the bigger person, right? That he's like, guys, come on, we got to vote for him. I think Carson is genuinely got to be the key for Todrick. If he's going to win this game, Carson has to be a voice for him on the jury.
Right. And like, and like when we were drafting, I thought that this might be a bit of an issue. I was like, I just didn't see a world in which he could snatch the crown because of like, who he is as a person. But the more and more that I watch him play, I mean, he does still sort of get away with stuff. You know what I mean? Like he gets away with things because he is gaming harder than most people are. So I think the longer that I watch him play, the more I'm like, you know what, he probably still could snatch it at the end. But now with Teddy out of the house, I don't know. Like that's going to be a bit of a thorn in his side, because I think that she might be his number one hater, and rightfully so, because he did screw her out of the house. But I think if he takes, it's so hard because I want to say take your foot off the gas, but the type of person that he is and the type of player that he is, I don't think that that's really an option. So I say, okay, keep your foot on the gas, but you need to careen a bit more and miss the potholes, because right now you keep hitting the potholes and it's just not, you're making unnecessary hurdles for yourself. And I feel like, a true gamer would kind of do a little bit more of what Shayna and Chris are doing. And I think he attempted that, like with the whole Mirai and Misha thing earlier, but you screwed over like 3 people in the process of doing that, and now you're sort of like having to like play catch up,
Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday, but I really do feel like, Shayna and even Kirkpatrick to a degree this week, they're examples of people who are playing very hard. I mean, Kirkpatrick is the person talking the entire day to everyone constantly. Shayna is the person who is actively playing and lying to both sides a lot and putting herself in these risky situations. They're playing the hardest in the house, and they're in the best position in the house. Todrick is also playing hard. It's in like, I think the criticism is Todrick is playing too hard. Todrick is playing too hard, too fast. I can continually disagree with that sort of classification of his game. I think the reason Todrick is in hot water is not because he's playing hard. I think that the fact that he's playing hard is the reason why the hot water has not caught up to him yet, because he's been racing away from it. The hot water is his personality. It's his social game, which has some good elements to it, but is really rubbing people the wrong way. In particular, what Shayna is venting about is that Todrick is constantly talking about how he needs this win, he needs the money, and yet he's also constantly talking about how he has a massive 10,000 square foot house that's got a movie theater in it, and that he wants to buy this like $250,000 memorabilia Wizard of Oz dress. And Shayna's like, who doesn't have a 10,000 square foot house? Me. Or probably most of us, actually. So what is this guy talking about? How he needs the money, and yet he's got all these things, and he's like, there's this disconnect where he's bragging about this stuff, and yet also saying he needs the money. And it's clearly, the way that he handled his relationship with Teddy really rubbed her the wrong way. Whereas, again, Shayna, who also was playing Teddy and betrayed Teddy, she's like, nah, Shayna's cool. There's like that is the difference. There is something, it's not as easy to describe as playing too hard, too fast, but there is a distinct difference in social game that allows people to get away with that sort of thing more than not. And I do think that that it is Todrick's gaming that is keeping him afloat here.
Yeah, it's definitely keeping him afloat. I think he just kind of suffers from a little thing I like to call just who asked you syndrome. Like, you didn't need to give them all that information about, like, you know, your personal life and like what you want to do this for, because on some level everybody has something that they want to be in there for, and you're not really doing yourself any favors when you talk about. And doesn't he already have something from the Wizard of Oz? I'm pretty sure when he gave his house tour, he had like the ruby slippers or some shit. Like,
that's
he had, like,
when you said that, that's what came to my mind.
Yeah, like he's got like something that like freaking Judy Garland wore or something. I don't know, but it's just like he's clearly doing okay. I would think so. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to use that argument, it's doesn't really hold too much water. And it was interesting because this didn't happen yesterday, but I think it happened like maybe the day before. Misha and Chris were kind of having a similar conversation about like who deserves it and wants and needs. And Misha was making arguments, I think, against like Carson or Cynthia or whoever, saying like, I want to give it to somebody who like needs it and like actually wants to be here and yada yada yada, and like doesn't have all of these nice things. And Chris was like, well, that's me. Like, all the things that you said that people have, like, I have that. So so you're all celebrities of some right. Y'all all got a little bit of coin. You're not all of you are like super rich, but y'all all are, you're not destitute out here. So all of you are going to be okay, I think. So I think that those kinds of conversations are just never great, even in civilian seasons. Like I just think if I were in the house, I would just keep it to, I really want to win this game. I want to prove this to myself. Of course, the money is great, but like, I just want to win this because I'm a big fan of the game, and I just want to prove something to myself and to my friends and to my family. I want to make them proud. Just leave it at that,
Yeah. Well, Kirkpatrick and Shayna talk about how they do think that Misha will be loyal to them for now, which is good. And Kirkpatrick is concerned that Lamar might be mad at him for not nominating him, but it was Todd that told him not to. And he kind of outlines their situation, that because of what he's doing, he feels like Misha and Todrick will target Carson and Cynthia and vice versa. And he goes, you know what? I got it. Okay. If Mirai wins the veto, I can just put up Lamar doing what he wants me to do, and then we send him out. We'll take you out, Lamar. That's what we'll do. And that way, we're still taking a number away from Todrick and Misha by getting rid of Lamar instead of getting rid of Catan, essentially. So that is ostensibly the plan here, that Mirai is the target. If Mirai wins the veto, then Lamar goes up and Lamar goes home. However, that does not mean that there's not room for a bigger play where perhaps Todrick ends up getting backdoored or something along those lines. But
do you think he'd do it? I don't think he would do it. Well, I think he'd think about it, but I just don't see, like, if he does that on because what's today? The veto? I guess the ceremony would be today.
I would assume so. Right? It's unless it's live on Monday, I forget what they do, but yeah, it's got to be soon.
Yeah, I would, if he did that, I would be like, okay, wow, Chris, that was bold, because Todrick he's not a target that you can miss. If you miss, you are done. Okay, and you're still going to be, even if he does leave, you're still going to be dealing with Misha at the end of the day, who's going to, she's going to be fired up at that point. Because the two of them are just like in love with each other. Like, that is one connection that I just did not see happening. Like, you got Todrick questioning his sexuality. I'm like, girl, like, what is going on?
Who had Todrick switching teams for Misha on the bingo card?
I'm like, not that Misha isn't an attractive woman. She is. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm jumping over the fence. Like, but to each their own. Do what you got to do.
So, well, let's talk about this. So Kirkpatrick is also going to talk with Misha and Todrick, and they do something that they should not be doing, which is that they can't leave it alone for now. Like, they don't want Mirai to be. They recognize that Kirkpatrick is shooting at one of their own, when he should be shooting at the other side if he's genuinely on their side and not just trying to play the middle. And so they're trying to point this out to him. Now, the problem is he already knows what he's doing. So having it being pointed out to him is not going to change his mind. And the more that you push, the more likely it is that he may decide, you know what, screw it. If they already know what I'm doing, I might as well just take the shot at them, which is why I think it's possible he could decide to do that if they keep pushing the way that they do. Now, this conversation is pretty frustrating to listen to because it primarily consists of Misha saying, you shouldn't target Mirai. You should target Carson because Mirai is loyal to us. She's on our team. She has loyalty to me. She is indebted to me. She has promised me that she will target Carson. And Kirkpatrick is saying, well, last week you took out Teddy instead of Mirai, and I felt like we should have taken out Mirai, and now I want to take out Mirai. And in the same way that you think Carson will target you, I think Mirai will target me. And then Misha says, no, she's not going to target you. And he says, I don't trust that. And then Todrick, to some of his credit, is going, you know what? Yeah. If that's the way you feel about Mirai, then I'm with you. I support you. But so, and that should be the end of it. Like, okay, we support you. But then Misha's like, yeah, but let's just think about this though. What happens if Carson wins and puts the both of us up? And Kirkpatrick's like, well, then one of you wins veto. Like, yeah, but we have to beat him to win veto. Yeah, but then one of you wins veto. And then what? Then we had the votes. But what if we don't have the votes because you got out Mirai? And like Todrick also, even though he's trying to be supportive, can't help but like jump into the argument because he knows that he's on the right side of it. But then after he makes the argument, he's like, well, I mean, it is dumb, but if that's what you want to do, I support it. But here's why it's dumb. But if that's what you want to do, I support it. And Misha won't drop it. And it just keeps going around and around and around. And it's not really going anywhere.
Yeah, this was great. This is great because I see what Todrick was trying to do. He was like, he doesn't want to piss off the current HOH, and he wants him to understand that his argument is being heard. But at the same time, he's like, okay, well, Misha is making salient points, so let me not like leave her in the dust either. But at the end of the day, like it really should. I need to appear as though I am supportive because I just don't want later down the line. I don't want this to be a thing that comes and blows back on me. But Misha is not taking that hint because I feel like even in the midst of that, Todrick is trying to be like, all right, well, if that's how he feels,
yeah,
then how about we just drop it and leave the storage room? And he's just like, well, you know, I just feel like Mirai is just not, she's on my, and if you don't trust what she told me, then maybe we don't have trust here. Like that was like the subtext of it. And I'm like, well, why would he? Like you were HOH yesterday, okay? He asked you many times to do something. You didn't do it. So now it's your turn to sit back. Just be happy that you're not on the block. Don't continue to push because he's already thinking about you anyway. But she's just so, and Chris says this, like her social game is horrible. Like she's great at comp. She's a nice person, all that, like nothing bad to say about her, but she just doesn't, just no finesse there. And Todrick has to sort of be that arm in the alliance. And it's not really working that well, but I loved watching it because I was just like, I see what all three of you are trying to do, and it's just Chris is the one in powers, and you're just ultimately it's gonna be Mirai. Like it's just it's what it's gonna be, okay?
Yeah, Todrick has big energy of just like I'm willing to swallow this down, but when you like when you say the fake argument that doesn't make any sense, like I can't just let you. Like, I can't just let you get it. Like we have to, if I'm going to accept this, we have to at least both agree that that's not the real reason, right? Like this is dumb. But yeah, he just can't help himself. In this conversation, though, there's another interesting point, which is that Misha, I said earlier that I think she did a good thing by convincing Kirkpatrick to not tell Catan that he was a pawn, because it sabotaged Kirkpatrick with Catan a little bit. But she then makes a big mistake in this conversation, which is Kirkpatrick tells them, okay, so we got to make sure that Mirai doesn't realize she's the target. And immediately Misha's like, what are you talking about? Of course she knows she's the target. Why wouldn't she? He's like, but wait, no, but she doesn't know. No. She definitely knows she's the target. She's like, knows. Oh, then what am I? Then I guess who cares? And she's like, yeah, exactly. Later he goes to Shayna. He's like, so Mirai knows she's the target now. Guess who? Only two people could have told her, Misha or Todrick. First of all, no. Todd and Lamar both knew she was the target. And Pretty sure it was Lamar that hinted to her that she was in trouble. Second, nobody needed to tell her because, of course, she knows she's the target. She's up against Chris Kattan by the guy that she had massive drama with. Of course, she knows.
It's like, come on. Let's just. I mean, we're not gonna call the spade a spade because we're trying to act like the spade is actually a heart, but we all know that it's just a spade masquerading as a heart. Okay, so let's just drop this. And even Mirai knows, like, she's already campaigning, and to varying degrees of success, mind you. Because when she tries to campaign to Lamar, and Lamar is like, all right, and then goes and falls asleep, I'm just like, oh my God, this is horrible. But credit to Mirai, though, because I've seen people make this point on Twitter about how, I think it was Hamster Watch that actually said, oh, wow, it's possible for somebody to be on the block for like a collective like 10 days and not like complain endlessly about it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, go for Mirai. She's sticking to her guns and she's still in it to win it. And I hope that she wins the veto today. I really do. I would like to see her stay.
Yeah. So she does talk to Lamar a few times. There was an awkward clip later in the night where he pointed out that she was not eating an Olympian snack, but it's okay. He forgives her, and she was like, "Okay, thanks for your permission."
He was like, Mirai be getting
I'm not giving you my permission.
Okay, my guy. What are you eating? Because you were shitting the bed earlier, so.
Yeah. Mr. Sugar-Free Candy. So Kirkpatrick is going to talk to Todrick a little more, and they pretty much have the same conversation even more. Todrick does say a few times, like, I get what you're doing. Like, I see, like, you're going to be fine. Like, I see that. And it just keeps going around and around. Kirkpatrick talks to Kattan as well. He apologizes for blindsiding him. Like I said, though, Kattan, he's pretty defeated. He's like, I came here to have fun. This game, I don't think it's for me. And so he's kind of just he's kind of bummed out.
So what do we think? Because I was thinking about when they were having a conversation, Todrick and Kirkpatrick. I was like, so if I'm Todrick, what do I do now? Like, obviously, if Mirai doesn't win veto, she's out of here, which isn't great. And if Mirai does win veto, then Lamar's probably going up, he's out of here, which isn't great. So either way, it's not great. What do I do? Do I then pivot again? Like, do I continue the sort of like messy game that I have, and do I like then like go buddy up with Carson and Cynthia again and be like, well, I tried to work with so-and-so, and like I just found out that they're just really not a great person. Whatever you have to say to demonize the other side of the house. Do you then go after Chris Kirkpatrick because you see that he's playing the middle game and that's the game any super fan would want to play? Do you target that person next? Do you go after Shayna? Like, what do you do next? Because I feel like if I'm Todrick, of course you have Carson and Cynthia coming for you. Carson more so than I think Cynthia would be. Of course you know that, but is there still a lane in which, because they have a prior relationship, like Todrick, you are letting go of gold right now. Like, I feel like there's still a beating heart right there where you can go back to Todrick or to Carson and be like, look, I fucked up. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I am swearing so much today. I apologize. Let me control myself. I screwed up. I apologize. I want to do this for me. Of course I want to win, but I also don't want to disappoint the millions and millions of Drag Race fans. Whatever you have to say to get Carson back on your side. Is that what you do next? Or do you just continue down this Misha path and just keep fighting, knowing that eventually your days might be numbered?
Well, see, this is where I think Todrick really messed up when he like continually over-explained his like personal reasons for flipping. When he was like, "Well, I felt alienated. I felt like when Cynthia brought these people in, and I didn't feel comfortable with them, and I feel like you're closer with Rue, and all of this stuff." Like he gave them the reason for him leaving, and so now if he comes back, like, how are they ever going to trust him because they trusted him before, and then for personal reasons he decided to flip on them? Whereas if he had kept it vague, if he had not over-explained himself like that, I think there is a genuine play for him here to go to Carson and Cynthia and say, Chris Kirkpatrick and Shayna keep telling me that you guys are after me. And I've been really worried about it, and I'm concerned about that, and I'm worried that they're trying to play the middle. I'm worried that they're trying to play us off each other. And you know what? It was Shayna who told me that I can't trust you way back when. Shayna's been the real rat all along. Essentially, make that the implication, because he has dirt on Shayna. She's told him things, over the course of the last week or so, that he can use to be like, she's been playing you all along, and she's the reason I turned, because she told me this, and I should have come to you earlier, but I just believed her because she's so convincing. But now I'm seeing through her and Chris Kirkpatrick and how they're trying to play the middle, and they're trying to play us off against each other. Let's not let them do that. I think there's a play there that he could have made, but I think that's going to ring especially hollow after he made this massive explanation about him being closer to Rue and, all of this stuff. It's hard to then shift the blame over to a game-related thing that has to do with Shayna and Kirkpatrick. There's still maybe a play he can make there, but it's tough.
So if he wins HOH, right? Like, which side do you appease first? Like, does he also do the safe thing where at least one of the nominees, assuming that Chris Kattan stays, right? Let's assume Lamar or Mirai are out. Chris Kattan goes back up. Who do you put up next? Do you put up a Lamar? Like, you would put up a survivor of Mirai and Lamar? So you put either one of them up, and then you sort of just continue to do you go to Cynthia as your HOH? Do you go to Cynthia and Carson and be like, yeah, so this is what and say exactly what you just said, and then hopefully corral the votes to backdoor Shayna? Is that what you do?
Well, so I think that the two options would be for Todrick, go to Carson and Cynthia and try to expose Kirkpatrick and Shayna as playing the middle, and then go from there. Kind of choose whichever side you think is going to be best for you. It puts you back in the position where you can now choose if you can pull that off. The other option is, and this is something that I did want to talk about, that Kirkpatrick did leave the door open here by nominating Kattan. If he had nominated Lamar, then there's nothing they can do. But he nominated Kattan, and that means there are 7 votes this week. 7 votes means that Todrick, Misha, Lamar, and Todd have the majority. And if they decide they want to keep Misha, they can. And they can vote out Kattan. Now, they are not saying that they will do that. They've not even talked about it privately. But this is something where it's like, this is why, for me, I'm like, you shouldn't be trying to convince Kirkpatrick to not target Misha yet. Wait for the veto to play out, then push. Because he still has nominating power. The second he doesn't have nominating power anymore, push as hard as you want. And at the end of the day, you have the numbers to do whatever you want. Right. So they could decide to take the first shot now and make it essentially a 5v3 in the next HOH competition of the 4 of them plus Mirai against Carson, Cynthia, and Shayna in the HOH. As long as one of them win, they cut those numbers down to 3, and now it's it's looking pretty good for them in terms of numbers. What they don't want to do is just fall into this trap of letting Mirai go and not being on board with Carson and Cynthia, and have it be a 4v4 essentially in the next HOH competition, with Kattan competing on the other side, and Shayna and Kirkpatrick kind of falling in on the other side as well, because that makes it even. That's playing into their game. So I think he has to go one of those 2 directions. Either link back up with Carson and Cynthia if possible, or just take the shot now. And that's where this week could get interesting. If the noms stay the same, that's a possibility. Even if they change, if say Kirkpatrick decides to put Lamar on the block as a replacement for Mirai, Mirai, Todd, Todrick, and Misha could all decide to vote out Kattan instead of Lamar. Even if Kirkpatrick said, you know what, Todrick's really pissing me off, I'm going to put Todrick on the block, and he replaces Mirai with Todrick, or replaces Mirai with Todrick, Mirai, Misha, Todd, and Lamar can vote to save Todrick in that spot. So there's a lot of stuff happening there where it could be interesting. And the play would be, and this is something that Kirkpatrick mentioned, if they can get Mirai on board with them, if they can trust her, then they could make that move. And that would be the thing. If say Kirkpatrick wins the veto, he uses it on Mirai with the intent being, I'm making a deal with you. You have to vote with me. You have to vote Todrick out. That's how they could get something happening there. But there are a lot of different ways this week could play out, even though it seems like it's straightforward given how little game talk is happening.
Right. Yeah. Like either go back to Cynthia or Carson, or force Chris Kirkpatrick into making a big move that he so desperately does not want to make. So yeah, I don't know if that's in Carson or if Todrick is thinking that way though, because it seems like the both of them are well, him more so than Misha are sort of just like resolved into either just letting her go or trying to force him into not getting rid of Misha, which both of those things are not good. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if Chris Kirkpatrick wins the veto, then maybe we got a game going.
Yeah. So in some ways, for Todrick and Misha and their side, the best case scenario is if Mirai wins the veto, and then if they can rely on Mirai's vote, that means Catan leaves, and they're in a great spot without even having to really betray Kirkpatrick. And their worst case scenario is if Mirai wins the veto and they can't trust her, and he decides to take a shot at Todrick, or if he wins the veto, him or Shayna, and they decide to use it on Mirai to secure her loyalty, that could be very dangerous for them as well. But this veto is definitely very important here coming up, and all of the intrigue is based on what could happen rather than what is actually being talked about. So we'll have to wait and see on that end as well.
Yeah, we're writing a better season than what might actually be happening.
Yeah, I think this is the danger of for as fun as it can be to have people who are like don't really know what they're doing. They also have to be like super invested in the game and playing hard. We have like 4 players who are playing hard, and the rest of the people are just kind of chilling. And that is kind of made for, at least yesterday, kind of a slow day. But we'll see. Carson and Cynthia did talk to Kirkpatrick later in the night and let him know that if he decided to make a big move, that they would back him. So that is still out there in the ether.
Yeah, it's which is great. You know, I'm glad that, because that's the first bit of game talk that we really see from Todrick and Carson and Cynthia, where they are, it shows me you're in it. So them winning HOH next week would be some fun as well. So I think that the moving parts will rev up once we continue to sort of like trim the fat off of this cast. I just hope that all of the players are left behind when we do. So yeah, it was a good conversation.
All right. Well, that's about what we have for you today. Aman, anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, that was pretty much it. I've been having such a good time. This cast is great. Even if all of them aren't playing, it's still making for an interesting game. And I'm loving that the fact that we have like an eviction on Friday, then another one on Monday. It just feels so fast. It's great. Maybe I am coming on to the side of maybe Big Brother should go back to being 75-ish days. But yeah, it's been great.
All right. Well, that's what we have for you today. I will be back later tonight on Twitch to watch the episode live with all of you, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. And then after the episode, we'll be live to talk about what we just saw. And should be a fun time. Of course, tomorrow morning, I will be live at 11 a.m. Eastern to update you on everything that happens today on the Big Brother Celebrity live feeds. And I'll also be live on Twitch in just a couple of hours for some Among Us / Goose Ducking.
Goose Duck.
I imagine Aman will be there. We'll have some fun.
I will be there.
And we'll see what happens with his grudge with Puya if it continues. And Then, of course, tomorrow there's going to be an episode as well, an eviction. So I'll be live during that episode, and we'll be live talking about it after that episode as well. Plenty of Big Brother coverage heading your way. The Taran show is going on. There's one with Asia out now. Another one will be up on Tuesday. That will be with Nicole Maines, aka Supergirl. So stay tuned for that one.
Yay.
And that's about it. Terrence Quest is a YouTube channel that I have that I just released another book review out on there. If you want to check that out. Aman, what are you up to?
You can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin. Also twitching. I've returned to playing some Harry Potter old video games. Always so fun to do. I have also returned after being kicked off of my own podcast at the Quiet Room. Now that the High School Musical coverage is over with Matt Lagori and Matt Gagan, I have returned to my rightful place. So yeah, you can find me there as well. Oh, and I'm also covering Euphoria with Grace Leader over at Post Show Recaps. And today is Euphoria Day, so we're gonna get another crazy jam-packed episode. So make sure that you tune in tomorrow. We're usually pretty good with the turnaround on those episodes. So that should be in your feed within the next 24 hours.
All right. Well, that's what we've got for you. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and I will see all of you next time.